After a tragic accident that left burns over nearly 25% of his body and doctors warning he might not ever walk normally again, a Portland, Oregon man exceeded all expectations. Colin O'Brady has become an endurance athlete and 10-time world record holder, including one for crossing Antarctica solo. That nearly 1,000-mile trek while pulling a 375-pound sled is the subject of his new book, The Impossible First, and what a thrill to have Colin join us now. So first of all, what's wrong with you?
It's amazing to be here. It's really exciting. We got great news about the book yesterday. Just hit the New York Times bestsellers list.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
for
you. Proud moment for sure.
It's so impressive, but let's go back to the accident that happened and sort of where you started, because it's one thing to achieve all of this. It's another when you start from way behind the starting line.
Yeah, 12 years ago, I was in a fire in Thailand. A flaming rope wrapped around my legs, lit my body completely on fire to my neck. I had to jump in the ocean to extinguish the flames, which saved my life, but not before 25% of my body was severely burned. And this doctor, said, "Hey, Colin, you'll probably never walk again normally," which was devastating news to hear, obviously, in that moment in my life.
Because you wanted to do all of these things.
Yeah, I grew up as an athlete, certainly not doing the types of things that I've done now, but just as an athlete, I swam in college and things like that. So to have that kind of taken away from my identity, it was really rough. But fortunately for me, my amazing mother came to my bedside in Thailand, and instead of her saying, I know the doctors are saying this, she goes, "Colin, set a goal and just kind of wrap me in love and positivity." I write about in the book just the connection, this incredible mother that she played a role in my life and really inspired me to keep dreaming as big as possible.
That's some good mom stuff.
Absolutely.
So the accident happened, interestingly, just after you met the woman who became your girlfriend and is now your wife.
Yes.
What was her role in this?
Yeah, Jenna Bisa, my incredible wife, but also sort of co-creator of all the projects and dreams that we've had. The Impossible First is really, it's my name on the book cover, but it's really both of our stories of, taking aspirational goals, dreaming them, and turning them into reality. And so even though I walked across Antarctica completely solo, I say Jenna walked every single step with me, and it really is a story of our love and our dreams and our aspirations, and then beating the odds to achieve them side by each other.
Well, let's talk about that trek. So, that sounds like a nightmare. It's a long way, first of all. And the other thing is you're by yourself. Did you have communication with somebody if you'd broken your leg out there?
Yeah, I had satellite phone and things like that. We also, I carried this little satellite modem, so I was putting that to, Instagram every single day. There was, through my nonprofit, hundreds of thousands of school kids following along. So people were following along the journey, but I was in complete isolation there. That's, shot from Antarctica. That's actually called Sastrugi. So basically all these huge speed bumps, essentially, of ice and snow.
Great fun when you have a 375-pound sled.
So it wasn't just pulling the sled, but you can see I actually took all the pictures myself over there. You can see the footprints on the side. So I had to set up the shots to take them because I was alone, completely alone for 54 days out there. The average temperature was about, minus 25, minus 30 degrees. Wind chill was minus 75 on a lot of days. It was pretty brutal.
In other words, just a breeze. Why don't we all do it? So just last month you broke another record. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so last month I set off on doing something no one ever done before, which was, we called it the Impossible Row. So I took a rowboat with 5 others and we rowed a boat across Drake Passage. So from the southern tip of South America all the way to Antarctica. The Drake Passage is known to be one of the most challenging ocean passages in the world. We were battling, 40, 50-foot swells,
Are you kidding me? In a rowboat?
In a tiny little rowboat. No motor, no engine, nothing like that. Us just rowing 24 hours a day for a couple weeks. And the Discovery Channel documented the whole thing. So there's a whole documentary coming out about that this year.
In fact, we have a little bit of the trailer for that, so let's take a listen.
The most dangerous ocean crossing in the world is from South America to Antarctica. Colin O'Brady wants to be the first in history to cross the treacherous Drake Passage in a rowboat.
All right, boys.
A battle to survive Arctic cold temperatures, brutal storms, high winds, and 40-foot swells.
Oh, Lordy. What'd you eat out there?
You know, we had these special bars. A sponsor of mine called Standard Process actually created these bars custom built for our bodies, exactly what we need. And we also had freeze-dried meals from Mountain House. So those two things, but pretty sparse living conditions to say the least. And yeah, we completed it on Christmas Day of this past year. And something of note, I had actually never rowed a boat anywhere in my life previous to a few months before this. So it was a serious undertaking for a very novice rower, to say the least.
You know, what's interesting in part to me, these 10 different things that you've made world records in. You almost imagine at this point, what is there that humans haven't done, but you actually find these things. What goes into the research of your projects and how you decide what you want to tackle?
Yeah, you know, I've set, several speed records and things like that, but the things I've set out in the last, the Impossible Row and then the Impossible First, which is the book is about, were things that no one in history had ever accomplished. And the reason that I do them is not just to, add a notch to the belt or pat myself on the back for another world record, but it's to show people that their impossible dreams can come true as well. You know, I kind of asked the question metaphorically in this book, which is, yes, this is my impossible first, but what is your impossible first?
And it might be totally different or much easier, but it means something to you. What do you feel like when you finish a row like that, for example, since that was fairly recently? What goes through your mind when you get successfully to the end? I
mean, it's an incredible accomplishment. We were wet and cold for so many days that getting to the end and actually standing on dry land was amazing. Or in Antarctica, I was out there alone for almost 2 months, and to finish that and to know that I had become the first person in history was amazing. But ultimately, what I felt is gratitude and love and kindness, and really hopefully that there's this ripple effect of positivity that this book and sharing this story with the world, with Discovery Channel, we're able to share the row in real time through my social media at Colin O'Brady. You could follow along on my Instagram. So people were eating Christmas dinner, they could see me freezing my butt off in a rowboat. But to share that with people so that it kind of broadens and opens their minds to whatever else is possible in their lives. And hopefully people, set this book down and set themselves their own aspirational goals to go out and achieve whatever it is they dream in their life. It doesn't have to be going out and freezing their butt off in the middle of nowhere by themselves, but it could be anything.
By the way, what's happening here?
This is me. I lost about 25, 30 pounds in the solo Antarctic crossing, so I put a little weight on before it to end, and by the end my hips and ribs were sticking out. I talk about it in the book of really nearly running out of food and the toll that was taking on sort of the emotional. The book is a very vulnerable account. It wasn't all easy out there. There was there's a chapter called Frozen Tears, because I was crying out there and the tears literally froze, to my cheeks. That's kind of how pathetic and sad I was in some of these moments.
But of course, and how generous of you to acknowledge that, because none of this happens without struggle or doubt or vulnerability. Those are all part of the things that you do.
100%. That's the truth of the story. Is it was a very vulnerable and intimate crossing.
I would say I can imagine, but I can't really.
Well, you got to read the book.
Okay. So one of the things that you've done is you've doubled up. You've had some twofers on some of these things, right? Where there's more than one world record being broken at a time. Give me an example of that.
So one of my first world records I set called the Explorer's Grand Slam. So that's climbing the 7 summits, the tallest mountain in each of the 7 continents, as well as going to North and South Pole. Within that, I also set the world record for the 7 summit speed record. So the Explorer's Grand Slam and the 7 summit speed record, all part of 139-day and 131-day respectively. So those records.
Check.
Yeah,
we got both of
double
those
them
up.
up. Exactly.
Yeah, love it. Dare I ask what you're going to do next?
Well, it's amazing to be able to, share the story with the world through the book. So being on book tour and sharing that is a really fun focus. But my wife, Jenna, and I, she has set herself the goal of climbing Mount Everest. We often ask people, what's your Everest?
Yeah.
And Jenna turned to me and she goes, you know what? My Everest is to climb Mount Everest. And she is an incredible woman, but not someone who's really identified as a climber or an athlete throughout her entire life. So for the last couple years, she's been training. And finally, in April, we'll be setting off. For me, I'll be returning to Everest. I climbed it once before, but we'll be supporting her, which is amazing because she supported me so much in everything we've done. So to switch those role reversal and support her, and of course, as always, we'll be broadcasting and sharing that story live through social media and different channels and things like that.
I will be watching.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Such a pleasure.
Appreciate it. Colin will be at Elliott Bay Book Company tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. The feature-length documentary, The Impossible Row, airs on the Discovery Channel later this spring. We'll be sure to let you know when that date is announced.